Finding attributes of quadratic functions with the TI-84. So we're going to go through how to find some attributes of these quadratic functions with the calculator. So the first one we're going to look at is number 7. And I do have the steps typed out here for us for most of this. So here's our calculator. It says find the attributes. So first thing we need to do is type in this equation in the y equals. So we're going to click y equals, and we're going to type this guy in. So we have negative x squared. So negative, and then here's your variable x squared. You can use this little square key. Then plus 2x plus 2, and then again, here's your variable x plus 1. And you can press enter and it will pop you out, but you don't have to press enter. Once it's typed in, press graph. And we get our picture. If you just have the regular TI-84, this is what you're going to see. If you have the color edition, it'll be a little bit nicer, like this. So it just depends on which calculator you have. But the buttons and the process is the same no matter what. So now that we have this typed in, we are asked to find the vertex. So remember that the vertex is the highest or lowest point on this parabola. In this case, since it's an upside down parabola, that means our vertex is this coordinate at the very top. So we are looking for this point here. So what we're going to do is we need this calculate key. So that's in blue. So I have to press second and then trace, and there's my calculate menu. And there's a bunch of things on here. We're going to be using this menu quite a bit. So we want a maximum. So we're going to go down to number 4 and we're going to press enter. So now it asks us a couple questions. It asks us left bound, and it has this little blinking X cursor. We can move that cursor by using the left and right arrow keys. So what it means when it asks you left bound is it wants you to put that cursor to the left of whatever coordinate point you're looking for. So since I'm looking for this point here where my mouse is, my cursor is, I need that little blinking mark to the left. So it's to the left right now where it's at is to the left of that point. So we're going to go ahead and press enter at the bottom. And now it changes to right bound. So again, it wants you to put that blinking marker to the right of this point here that we're looking for. So we're going to have to use our arrow keys and move it over to the right of the vertex. So here's the vertex. My blinking cursor is now on the right of it, so I'm going to press enter. And now it asks me to guess. So it's asking you, do you want the calculator to guess at the maximum coordinate between the placement of your blinking cursor? So press yes, press enter. And here is the maximum point. So see how it says x equals 1.000007? This is pixelated, so it's off just a little bit. So this is basically an x value of 1. So our vertex is at the coordinate 1, 2. We already figured out max or min. Since it's a high point, this is a maximum. And the axis of symmetry we can find because we have the vertex. So remember, the axis of symmetry is that vertical line that runs through the vertex. So it's x equals the x value, which is 1. So solutions is the next thing we need to find using the calculator. So remember, solutions are the same thing as x-intercepts. It's part of that acronym ROXS, R-O-X-S. Roots, zeros, x-intercepts, and solutions. So again, we need our calculate menu. So we're going to use second and trace to get to our calculate menu. And we want number 2, a 0. Notice it doesn't say x-intercepts, it says 0. But a 0 and a solution is the same thing. So we're going to press enter. Now, there are technically 2 solutions. There are 2 zeros. There's one here and there's one here. And so we need to find both individually. So let's find the left one first. And again, it asks me this left bound question. So I need to move that blinking cursor to the left of this 0, that x-intercept. So I'm going to use this cursor, move it left, this arrow key. So this is where I want to be. I need this point. So that blinking cursor is to the left of that point. So I'm going to press enter. Now, right bound, I need this blinking cursor to the right of that coordinate. But make sure you don't go too far. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to hit this x-intercept over here. So that's perfect. So here's the point that I want. Here's my cursor to the right. So press enter. And then again, it asks you to guess. Press enter one more time to find that coordinate. So here is the 0, the solution of this quadratic function, one of them. So I'm going to round to a few decimal places. Negative 0.41, 0. Now there is another one. So we have to do this process all over again to find the second one. So again, we're going to do second and trace to get to the calculate menu. Press number 2 again. Use your down arrow to get to number 2 and press enter. And again, I need this one now. So left bound of this x-intercept. So I'm going to kind of move my cursor a little bit closer. So here's x bound, or left bound of this x-intercept. So press enter. Now it needs right bound. So I'm going to use my cursor and move it to the right. So again, here's the point I want. There's my cursor. It's on the right-hand side. Enter. And then guess one last time. And there's the other 0, or the other solution at 2.41, comma 0. So you have to find them individually if there's more than one. You cannot find both x-intercepts or both zeros at the same time. Now, one that's not actually listed here, let's find the y-intercept. So finding the y-intercept from the calculator is easier than you think. So you're going to do second and trace again to get to that calculate menu, but this time we're going to look for a value. This value allows us to enter an x and get the corresponding y. Now, for an x-intercept, we always know that the x value is equal to 0. So right here, it's blinking and asking you to enter in an x value. So let's put 0 and press enter. And it pops you to, it already puts that blinking cursor on the y-intercept. So 0, 1 is the y-intercept, 0, 1. So this is found by using value. That's found by using value. Now, domain and range, we can't really get that from the calculator, but it's nice having the picture to help. So domain is all of your x's left to right. Well, this graph does not just stop at the edge of this screen. If I wanted to zoom and I zoom out, you'll see that every time I zoom out, I get more and more of that picture. So that blue quadratic function keeps going forever. We just don't have enough space to actually show all of the function. So there really are arrows. So the domain for this is negative infinity, less than x, less than infinity, because there are arrows on both ends telling me I'm going left and right forever. Or you can use the all real numbers double barred R. Range, well, that has to do with the vertex. So the highest y value is this vertex point here, which we said was 2. And all of my graph, my quadratic function, is below the y value of 2, the maximum y value. So that means my range has to be y less than or equal to 2. All the y's underneath 2. So I'd like you to pause the video, and I would like you to try to do number 8 on your own. I will help you type it into the calculator, though, since it does have a little bit different of formatting. So go back to y equals to type in your equation, and you can press clear. If you press clear, it clears out everything. So now we're going to do 1/2. If you want the fancy fraction here to get this guy, we're going to do alpha plus y equals. And that'll give you that fancy fraction. You're going to choose the n over d option. So if I do alpha and y equals, we're going to choose number 1, the n over d, and that gives us a nice fancy fraction. Or you could always change it into 0.5. Then we need a set of parentheses, and then we need to do x minus 4. Remember, make sure you use a minus and not a negative. Those are two different buttons in the calculator. So type it how you say it. If you say negative, type a negative. If you read it as a minus, type a minus. Then squared, and then minus 2. And press enter. And again, now you can press your graph button and get the parabola shown. So pause the video, try to find these things, and also try to find the y-intercept as well. Let's add that to this. Find that y-intercept as well. Pause the video, try number 8. And here's your solution to number 8.